Good evening, everyone. My name is Berna Aksu. I'm the director of the Center for Regional Economy, which puts together this event every year. I'm also the chair of the Department of Management and Entrepreneurship, and we have been bringing in a lot of new programs and new curriculum in the area of entrepreneurship, so we're very happy about that. And tonight, we have a great program for you guys. We have 6 wonderful presenters who have been working very, very hard on their ideas. I'm going to ask you guys in the audience to hold on to your agendas because it has the list of the presenters and their names and their company names, of course. And does everyone have their big bucks? All right, well, we'll get to that at the end, but hold on to those as well, and you're actually going to get to vote on your favorites. Okay, so this is the 6th year we have been doing this competition. It's absolutely my favorite event of the year, and many people have told me the same as well. I see a lot of faculty, a lot of alums in the audience. Thank you so much for being here. And definitely our Keiretsu investors. The forum has been with us since the beginning, since the first competition. And Randy has always been our moderator, our MC. And our panel is composed of Keiretsu investors, some of whom are alums. And it's so great to have you guys. And I'd like to actually first ask Dean Zonley to come up and say a few things and give you his greeting.
Thank you, Berna. Hello, everybody. This is a great turnout. I see some faculty here, some staff here. When I have a school-wide faculty staff meeting, I don't get this good turnout. So maybe next time I invite you guys to the faculty staff meeting, so to beef up our attendance, right, Berna? So great event every year. I'm really looking forward to come because you see our alum, they always come back. You see our students, current students, they're here, our faculty. I want to thank our judges coming today to give our students feedback, valuable feedback. I want to thank all our coaches who really help our students. Spend some time with them, give them some ideas, and prepare them for today's event. Most importantly, I want to congratulate our students, contestants, who are actually going to really put up the show, see how much money they're making today, right? And further down the road. Without further ado, so congratulations to our student contestants, and thank you for the judges. Looking forward to see the results.
All right, our first presenter is actually not a contestant. He is a competitor from last year, absolutely one of my favorite participants of all times, and we're definitely still working together, and he has made a lot of progress since last year. And I asked him to come in and give a short update to us as to what he's been up to the last year or so. Chad Reithold.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Chad Reithold. I'm an alum here. Did the TGEMBA program, cohort 10. I didn't get a chance to invite them here, but I'm sure they would have made it. And I'm glad we've got about 1 million cameras and videos so I can show them I was back. Also, as Berna has kindly said, that I was in the competition last year. Didn't win, but I'm here right now, and no one else is. So I wanted to give you an update on our company and our business that we started from an idea last year, and with the help and support of Berna, Mike O'Leary, I know you're out there. Absolutely fantastic man to help with the pitch and develop and refine products and ideas. Let's see what we got. Green light? There we go. All right. There's my update. Okay, so basically we came in with an idea of a product that was in functional use but wasn't ready for market, and we really didn't have any idea of the business structure, how would we deliver the message, and that's what brought us to the Business Idea Competition. They helped us refine our idea. They helped us with absolute perfect pitch for 3 slides and 2 minutes, which feels like it's impossible, but it's very, very manageable. And a matter of fact, when you do talk with investors, you probably got about 30 seconds before you lose them. So we were able to structure our business. We were able to secure suppliers and vendors last year. We became a full C corporation. We were able to get IP protection for our product, which we have both in the rehabilitative market and with the physical fitness market. And we're able to have our product out in the test case market with rehabilitative industry. So right now we have the Special Forces for the Air Force out in North Carolina is using our product for the last 2 months to give us feedback. We have a place called SciFit out in Sacramento that stands for Spinal Cord Injury Fitness. They've had the product for a couple months and they deal with primarily strokes and spinal injury clients. Our product, now let me try this, Mike, if I can remember, is a long-term, sustainable device that helps support body weight in physical activity. That's it. That's all it is. If I took 2 minutes, I'll screw it up. So, one-liner. Our product helps with flexibility, mobility, and recovery. Looks like the slide gummed it up, but basically our product will help people that have flexibility issues, mobility issues, and injuries that need recovery. So if you're not at your best, then this is where you need to go. We've sold over 100 units. We started our launch, I would say mid-November. We got 100 units sold in the month of December, and we're in production for 1,000 units now. We just got done with an investor meeting last week and last night and talking with raising capital for a boutique fitness studio where we can showcase the product and build the culture of helping recovery and rehabilitation. These are all the various exercises from one of our founders, which I didn't want to bring here because he will take 20, 30 minutes of your time and get every single one of you to do a push-up. And we just don't have time for that. Spot Me Products, amazing product. You guys check it out. And anybody that's in this front row for the presentation, if you have an idea that you're in love with, continue with it, because the biggest thing is just having persistence and really following that passion. So thank you again for the Business Idea Competition. Berna, very kind words, and so much support with the St. Mary's community and with the Business Idea Competition. It's amazing, and thank you as well. The Keiretsu Forum I attend every chance I get at the Lafayette, and I can't say enough about you. It's great work. Thanks. I don't know if you turn it off.
Sorry, Chad, about those slides. And thank you for the great presentation. And we're very happy to hear that you have made so much progress since last year. Without further ado, I want to give you Randy Williams, who's the founder CEO of Keiretsu Forum. He founded the forum in 2000 and has grown it into the world's largest angel investor group. And we've been working together since 2008. We have a wonderful collaboration, wonderful partnership, and we're very happy to have all of them and his team somewhere back there. Randy Williams.
Thank you, Berna. We love, the students, they think they're learning from us, we're learning from you, because you're the target market, and whenever interns come to us or future team members, we learn from you. I want to acknowledge Keiretsu Forum members in the audience, if you could stand up. Out of respect, they're coming tonight. So, entrepreneurs, there's the money right there. Also, standing up, don't stand, alumni that just stood up that went to this wonderful institution. How many alumni are in the room that are Keiretsu Forum members? Okay, alumni here, great. So, who hasn't heard about what Keiretsu Forum is or does, or who, let's be honest, who doesn't know us? Well, we're a famous sushi restaurant in Moraga. And so, we're fortunate because of my lack of discipline and expertise 19 years ago when my wife and I were able to retire, or whatever that vernacular is, was move to another path in life. I want to invest in startups, and I love the ecosystem of great companies. And I really wanted to get people around me with no vested interest, including myself. We're helping each other be better investors. So to my right, they're going to introduce themselves in a minute, but they help me be a better investor. I'm almost up to 6 companies I've invested in. I've had 8 failures. I'm about 32% IRR on my money, and it's all because of the secret sauce of our members. We're here to help each other. And again, these are great companies, and you're dreamers, and you're going to eventually get to a place to monetize them. But let me give you 3 P's, what I look at in life. First is passion. Find your passion, and then it will evolve into your purpose, right? And then have a plan to execute on those 3. Those are very simple. But in between the presentations, I'm going to give you top 10 ways that I invest and my wife invests. And I'm going to put things in. I think it's always disingenuous to talk about your wins. I'm going to talk about how I lost money, too. I think that's very important. But we're here as a gracious Shark Tank. We're here not to tear you apart, but give you love. So what's happening is we have these great presentations. Thank you for preparing. You show great respect, and hopefully we're going to show you respect. But you have 2 minutes to present, then 4 minutes of Q&A, and then you can take a big breath and no feedback. No, you can't say anything, but this is when we give you feedback. And also, if you have a friend or a family member here, write down the feedback. It's going to be powerful. So why don't we do some introductions before we rock and roll here. Mary Jo's been a wonderful member. I think we're 16 years, and we love most angel groups, and we're fortunate 50 locations now globally. Most angel groups are populated with 5% women, and we are getting close to 20%. Now look at this, huh? More women up there, huh? Game on. Game on. So Mary Jo, you've been a wonderful member. If you could, and again, she also is a giver. Above and beyond, she's a prolific investor. But if you could introduce yourself first, Mary Jo.
There we go. Okay. Yes, Mary Jo Potter, live in the East Bay. Been a member of Keiretsu Forum and Keiretsu Capital. Also run Healthcare Angels. The thing I love about healthcare investing at this point, or investing in general, is being part of the world that's creating the rest of the future. And it's very exciting and it's very energizing. We are very fortunate to be in the Bay Area. So I'm part of a variety of other groups of people, but we collaborate on everything. We co-invest with other people. It's a very good place to be an entrepreneur, so we'll be nice to you.
Okay, Shirley's also been a long-term member. I think you're over 10 years at Keiretsu Forum, Shirley. And she graduated from another school, not graduated, she worked another school down the peninsula. I think it starts with an S. And fortunately retired, and now she's with us, Shirley. Yeah.
Okay.
Be prepared, panel. I'm going to get these things ready, huh?
My children are always complaining that I'm technologically disabled.
Okay, that's it. So
As
that's good. Thanks for the
demonstrated.
introduction. We'll move on.
Thank you, Randy.
Okay.
I'm currently a senior venture partner with Y Strategies, and we're actually working on technology coming from the U.S. National Laboratories and moving into the commercial space. I'm also the founder and managing partner for Angel Plus. It's a third-party validation for due diligence. And as Randy said, I actually joined the university, Stanford University, when I was 27 as a member of the executive senior staff, and was able to retire after 100 years. And but the most important introduction, I think for me, is that I am an alum with St. Mary's.
Yay.
Yay, Gales. So I got my MBA from St. Mary's, and my professor is sitting right there. We've gotten to be really good colleagues.
Great.
Okay.
So we love the East Bay. I'm born and raised in Orinda. That's where I raised my family. And it's nice to see Les is about to do a very interesting incubator at 2600 Camino Ramon in San Ramon. So we're bringing a great incubator. You are bringing. And before that, he was CEO of the 49ers and many other opportunities. Les.
Thank you, Randy. Hi, I'm the new minority, as you can see from the panel. And I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done 7 different companies, mostly in the software industry, a couple IPOs, and 1 through bankruptcy. There's always the failures to go along with the successes. And I just really love the entrepreneurial journey. You know, give me a corporate job and I'll die, but give me a new idea and a path to pursue it, and it's exciting, and it's just really a lot of fun to put things together. And today I'm putting together a data science focused accelerator in Bishop Branch, just 15 miles down the road. It'll be the first accelerator of its kind in the Far East Bay. Everybody know where the Far East Bay is? This side of the tunnel, right? And all the way down to 580. But it's sort of from Livermore to Orinda is sort of the new center of attention that I hope to draw entrepreneurs to so that they can develop companies and be successful. I see the front row here. I see some nervousness. I just want you to relax, and we're not going to be terrible on you. But hopefully, when you leave tonight, you'll be better than you were when you started. I always say I'm going to be smarter tomorrow than I was today. So,
Yes.
yeah.
My passion is learning and being inspired every day, and hopefully you'll inspire us today. And last but not least, these are all wonderful Kretz Forum members. We have a new member, and Melissa and her husband just joined Kretz Forum 6 weeks ago. Melissa.
Hi, I'm Melissa Ross. I think I'm the newest member of the Keiretsu Forum, definitely up here, but maybe in the entire East Bay. I've spent the last 2 decades in healthcare technology, primarily analytics. I spent the last 10 years or so at MediAnalytics, which is the largest pure play analytics company in healthcare, and a number of leadership roles there in operations, sales strategy, business development, engineering, number of different things here. I'm also a St. Mary's alum. I got my MBA. Okay. And I'm very passionate about tonight's event because one of my classmates in my cohort actually won the event in 2014. He's in the back, Gerald Cabrera. And this event was the event that really was the catalyst for him to quit his job and follow his passions. And I really believe in what this can do. So I'm very excited to be here tonight, and we will be nice, I promise.
Okay, well, thanks so much for showing up and, you know, giving back. And this is our 6th year, and we love, obviously, being here, Berna and Dr. Lee. Further acknowledgement, Lauren, if you could stand up. We have my entrepreneurial director, came in from San Francisco. So hopefully she'll see opportunities that will eventually come to Keiretsu Forum. Generally, one thing about companies that come to us, we have over 1,000 fundings. They're a little more, let me just say that, they have revenue. So once revenue starts, that's somewhat of a validator for us before we invest. And so Lauren is in the front line. Kate Murphy, if you can stand up. Kate is also a new team member, and she works with Lauren. Also, she works with membership and sponsorship. And Judy, if you could stand up. And Judy, through her leadership, we've expanded around the world. And what are we, about 60% women under leadership that they're really running the show? That's right. Okay. So, that's right. I know. Okay, here we go. So, come on up, and you have a mic there. And so, he's sorry? Okay. So, historically, you have faced the judges. Where do you feel comfortable facing? You want to face all of us or the judges?
We had it slotted in this general area, so.
Okay, good. Is that okay with you? Okay, so my timer is right here. What's your name? Vanessa, okay. You're overqualified. Okay, so 2 minutes, and then 4 minutes of Q&A, and then who's got the, you know, like if they're not paying attention, who's going to pull them off the stage? And you are, Vanessa? So 2, 4, and 4. And, okay, you ready to go? Now, okay, so while you're getting ready, I'm going to, entrepreneurs, if you care, or students, if you care, I'm going to give you top 10 key points before my wife and I make an investment in an opportunity. Okay, and that's going to be in between all presentations. Number 1, moral compass. The efficacy, moral compass, and we will then, I mean, you know, everybody comes with a great idea. Everybody comes with a great vision. But I want to see if she or he's had issues in their past, and then hopefully you're being honest about it, but I want to see great moral compass before I invest in a startup. That is including the whole team. So that's number 1. Efficacy, moral compass. You ready to go, man?
Yeah. Let's see if we can. There we go. That's a little better.
Okay, let's do some breathing together. Happy here now. You're Baba. Okay, ready, the floor is yours.
All right. 2 years ago, I was in a subway station in Boston, hopelessly lost out of my mind, staring at a train map, trying to find my friends, when a man named Brett tapped me on the shoulder and asked if I needed help. 30 minutes later, Brett was walking around downtown Boston backwards like a tour guide, pointing out things like the Paul Revere Church and the bar that his friend owns where we could get a free drink. And honestly, getting lost in Boston turned into one of the best nights of my life. And I realized something. I've had this experience all over the world. In places like Vietnam and Canada and all over the United States, people like Brett are everywhere. So I figured that there's got to be a way to connect the Bretts of the world with the lost, adventure-seeking Caseys of the world. So I looked, and there's not. Raise your hand if you like to travel. Raise your hand again if you prefer to travel to places where you have friends who can show you around. Now raise your hand again if you have a friend in every city in the world. Now look around. As you can see, we have a problem. My name is Casey Riley, and I'm here because I have a solution. Localize is a global community where travelers who are seeking authentic global experiences can connect to locals who are passionate about sharing their culture. So here's the breakdown. Locals create guided experiences and post them to Localize. And travelers search Localize, and when they find an experience that they're interested in, they can contact that local directly and make the arrangements. We handle all the money and take a small percentage. Our app is already built, and the travel community has already started to take notice. Last December, I was interviewed by TravelSpective magazine and contacted by a European firm who wants to take Localize around the world. All we need is money to get our message out there. So if you invest with me, we can see the world the way it was meant to be seen, through Localize. Thank you.
Woo!
Great presentation, Casey. Thank you very much. So the first question is how well do you know your market? And what I mean by that is you've got a broad spectrum of people who are adventurers and a broad spectrum of people who want to be guides. I get that. Not everybody who wants to be a guide wants to be on your platform. Who is that person, and how well do you know them?
So the person who wants to be a localized guide.
In remote employment. So the growing number of remote employees with Uber and Airbnb, thank you, has been skyrocketing recently. So we know that those people are out there, and that mix of people who are adventurous travelers or very passionate about local culture are the guides that we're going after. Someone who can extend the experience beyond something you could get with a normal tour agency.
How will you get the word out there so people will sign up to be guides?
Based on our target market, they're very tech savvy, so a very targeted Facebook and Instagram ad campaign could bring us users very quickly.
Let's talk about quality control for a minute. Just in terms of quality control on the experience that you're offering, but also on the security side too as well. I don't think I'd like to have an invitation from ISIS to come to his hut for a first-hand experience. How are you going to control for security, and how are you going to control for quality?
So the question was, how will we control security? There is a well-established company called Checkr that runs the background checks on several of the big remote employment companies already. Airbnb has used them in the past. Uber uses them currently. And they run very comprehensive background checks. So in the long term, that is our plan. In the short term, we would vet each guide individually as well.
Okay, next. And there's a time over there. We got 1:55.
So if you get an investment in your company, how will you market it to get the name out?
So we are very open to ideas in our marketing. I'm not a marketing expert. I have no experience in that field. So the other thing that I'm searching for is a marketing expert, someone who can help me reach these people that I know are out there and really help build our platform and start getting traction.
Now, if you're going to take 18% of $50, that's cutting into their sort of per hour rate, how many hours of time are people signing up for as tour guides?
So the tours are completely self-created, so they could last anywhere from a half hour to 3 days or more. And the $50 was an average, and also with 2 groups, 2 people per group, so it would be $100. And we only take 15% from the guide. The other 3% comes from the end user.
So basically, if I understand it right, you just need people to say, I want to give a tour, and other people say, I'll take that tour. That's what you need, right?
Yes, sir.
And so today you have an app to connect those 2 pieces. Why can't I start that business?
My real differentiator here is I have the connections already in the travel industry. So I have connections with TravelSpective magazine and several other magazines in the tech area, as well as people already set up in several major cities to start these tours.
Finally, is this a legacy company, or is this being driven to an exit at some point?
Being driven to an exit is our goal.
Okay, last question.
Still, I'm concerned about protecting yourself. Do you think anything in here is patentable?
It would be difficult at this point to actually protect any of the IP, but it's something that I've thought about trying to expand the program into things that we can protect legally.
Okay, you ready for feedback? Okay, me first. Okay, you engaged us. You had us participate, simple as shaking, putting your hands up, but you got us. And then great content, and he's self-effacing, and he's honest. I mean, didn't he grab you? Yep. Yeah. So great job. And obviously, this is the beginning, and then obviously you want capital. It's going to take weeks and months sometimes, but you got us. Okay, here we go. Feedback. Let's go, Melissa. This is where you can just enjoy. Yes.
Great job. I want you to create this business because I want to use it. It sounds amazing. And I love your passion for it. So keep going. I would say, to pile on to Les's point, I am a bit concerned about the low barrier to entry for another competitor coming into this business. I remember when Groupon first came out, everyone got on board, and then very quickly there were copycats. So you may want to think about how you differentiate yourself and how you create, you would have the first mover advantage, but how you create that differentiation for yourself that somebody else can't replicate very easily. But great job and keep at it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next. Can't say thank you either. I'm joking. You can say thank you.
Again, very, very good presentation, and I'm with you, Melissa. I'd like you to get going on this. You might think about contiguous services around it. What else is in here? You may end up being a very strong data play because you're going to be having lots of information that's valuable to hotelers, restaurateurs, and so on. So as you do this, start thinking about all the connectors.
We have 2 minutes left. Continue feedback. And also this year, if anybody's dying to give feedback, not a question, put out your hand and we're going to bring the mic to you. Okay, please.
Yeah, I think you did a great job. I think you answered all the questions. You've actually thought about everything. We could see that. And I'm with Mary Jo. Anytime that you can take a core business and start developing other revenue streams, that makes your business that much more valuable. And it'll also help expedite your exit too as well.
And also, please ask for resources. All of you ask for something. You're here, you're prepared, but ask for something because you're going to get it. And God moves in mysterious ways. But ask for it, and you will receive. Okay.
Yeah, I usually have this sort of, the usual feedback is slow down, talk clearer, be a little crisper, stay in your time. I don't have any of those comments to make. You did a really fantastic job of doing all those things and just really nailing, I think, the 2-minute interval with some really good content. From a business perspective, not so much on that presentation, but from a business perspective, the biggest challenge in what you have is the two-sided marketplace, is getting enough tour guides that it's interesting for somebody when they go to the app that they'll find somebody that they're interested in or some tour they're interested in taking, as well as in enough tour guides to offer those services. And so the dual marketing to 2 very different groups simultaneously is probably going to be one of the biggest business challenges you have in sort of scaling the company. So I think you're right to acknowledge that you don't have the marketing talent, you need the marketing talent on board. It'll have to be a little bit of a unicorn marketing person to actually do both of those well. But I think you've got the idea squarely in sight. So.
Okay, any feedback here? Oh, look at this. Why don't we Nicholas and Austin? Okay, you got 30 seconds, Nicholas. Kretz Forum member?
Yeah, thank you. There is a company in Europe called U2 Guide. They're doing about the same thing. What I can share, because I'm helping them, what I can share is that the market is large, much larger than you think. I didn't think the market was so large. As Les was saying, the key is to develop partnerships with people who can help you with the tour operators, okay? And then you have the whole thing about reaching other markets. But it's a very good presentation. Good morning.
Thank you, Nicholas. And he does a lot of, obviously, business outside the United States. And we look forward to Nicholas doing more things for you. Okay, Austin, real quick. Yeah, you have a feedback? No questions. I said feedback. Yeah. So, okay. We're gonna get time. So get ready for feedback. Okay, next time. Okay, here we go. So on 1, 2, 3, we're gonna vote. You ready? You want to see a vote? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Wow. And guess what? No one knew that was coming. Remember when I said about moral compass efficacy? We have it. So we didn't talk about this. Congratulations. And if you recall, we're voting 1 through 7. 1 through 7. 1 through 7. So 7 being the best. I'm dyslexic. You got a 9. You got a 6. Great job. Okay. So I gave you a way that my wife and I invest. Number 1 was what? Moral compass. Obviously, number 2 is skin in the game. I'm going to get to the real bottom of some of the nuances we look at investments, but skin in the game. So if you come to me, Casey, and you want our money someday, and you have it baked and you have revenue, I want to see skin in the game. Now, if your net worth is maybe $10,000, I want $1,000 that you have in this, not accruing. Everybody talks, I put so much sweat equity. I want your money in this. So skin in the game is critically important for all of us investors. That's number 2. Okay, so who's next? Okay, so are you mic'd?
No.
Your name's Mike?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Gautam Sinha, founder and CEO of Stictus. Did you know that full 50%, about half of the diagnoses that doctors do are often wrong or incomplete? Publications from Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Elizabeth McGlynn in 2003, and others have shown that that is still the case. $3.8 trillion, that's what the US is going to spend, projected this year, on healthcare costs, according to the Congressional Budget Office. Out of that, about $780 billion can be attributed to either incomplete diagnoses or erroneous diagnoses. If we could improve that by 1%, we'll be saving $7.8 billion. We are using the idea of machine learning and artificial intelligence to try and improve that diagnosis, even if it's a little bit. We're building a software as a service that utilizes artificial intelligence as an aid to physicians and physician groups so that they can take get more confidence in some of their diagnosis and take it from there. We are leveraging IBM Watson. If you've probably heard about that from the Jeopardy win that they did a few years back, we're going to take that system to small groups of physicians and single doctor offices, let them put in their patient data and their observations. into that system, compare the diagnosis received by them with that provided by Watson. That gives them more confidence as to what they're diagnosing, and we are going to leverage some of that.
Okay, so that's 2 minutes, so please summarize, you have 5 seconds.
Okay, so essentially that increases confidence in their diagnosis. They are able to reduce hospital readmission rates and get paid more because their reimbursements go up. Also, because of the reduced errors, we save lives. Today I'm asking for about $100,000 to get started. That'll last us a couple of months,
Okay.
and then some mentors and advisors.
So in the spirit of efficiency and also respect, 2 minutes for presentation, 4 minutes for Q&A. If you can stand over here, get ready for Q&A. No, please, over there. Don't turn off. You're going to be answering questions. Okay, you're expert in life science right here. First question.
Sure. Gautam, good idea, beginning to come to fruition. Can you be specific? Exactly what disease states are you going to focus on? What kind is it going to be in radiology? Is it going to be in cardiology? Can you give us a little more specific?
Yes, radiology.
And be
is-
brief. Be brief. We got a lot of questions.
Radiology is definitely one
Okay.
area, and then also general symptoms, flu, anything else that can be used for data to use analytics to help.
You want to go over like the system itself a little bit? You said it's a SaaS solution essentially for diagnostic, raise confidence, right?
Yes.
Of physicians' diagnosis and perhaps correct the ones that are misdiagnosed,
Yes.
correct? You want to talk about the system itself a little bit more?
Yeah, so for at the point of service, we have electronic health records where doctors put in their information. We'll try to connect that through APIs to IBM's system so that they can, and then secured by IBM, so we don't have the HIPAA issues or other regulatory issues. They put in the data. IBM Watson looks at it, and then it provides a diagnosis.
I see.
Melissa, you get it?
How are you going to generate revenue on this? How is that?
So because the doctor is going to get paid more for doing the same thing, because the cost profile for doctors are going to get better, and they're going to get more reimbursements on the same services that they provide today. So we're going to do a subscription model, $1,000 a year for doctors.
Okay, so you're asking for money tonight, 100,000. So you must have valuations convertible, or you got a pre or post on it. You know what the valuation of your company? What is it?
So I have invested 100,000 myself,
Right.
and
Skin in the game, great. That's
so
number two.
and I am looking to hire more developers and sales and marketing folks to actually make this a reality by the end of this year.
So when you ask for money, though, you have to have a valuation of your company. What is it?
So the valuation of my company at this time, I would say about 100,000, because that's all I have invested in it.
Okay, so you put 100, and you're putting a value 100. That's okay.
So
It's okay. Just
that-
you know,
that's-
so when valuation for Kretzer Forum members, we like to win, but you have to win too. So if you don't know it, we'll help shape it.
So I don't know any
That's-
better than that
That's
valuation
fine.
at this
That's
time.
fine. Okay, so give me 100,000, and then I'll give you a valuation of 50. Is that okay?
That would
Sorry.
we have the company.
We pivot here. So this is how we win. Okay, Les.
Yeah, so I'm a doctor, and I think I do a pretty good job of diagnosing my patients. Convince me that I need your tool, and
So-
I would be willing to pay you
Yes.
$1,000 a year for it.
Absolutely. So we would let you try our tool for 3 months, and every diagnosis that you do, and every diagnosis that comes back from our system, we'll let you compare those two. And if you find that we are not providing value, we will not charge you.
Okay, you ready? Oh, how much
Yes.
time do we have ready for feedback?
A minute.
Okay. Any last questions? Do we have any last questions? We're going to have a. Okay, so let's do feedback. You ready?
I respect your idea tremendously, but you're here to pitch a business idea, not writing scientific journal. So you cite a lot of sources, and I'm sure that the information are correct, but they take away your time to grab the audience.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Feedback. Mary Jo?
There are many, many companies working in this right now, so you know you have a good idea.
Yes.
They tend to be focused on a disease state. The question I think people may have is, you need to help us know exactly what it is you're going to do, with whom, and who buys it. So that, I think, would help.
Okay, thank you.
Melissa?
So I also think it's a good idea, and I'm passionate about bringing technology to solve problems, and so particularly in healthcare. So I like the idea. I would encourage you to think about the revenue, how the revenue model, and I would encourage you to think about health plans as a potential partner in this, because they would be really incentivized to get the diagnosis correct, and so their costs are lower. So that may be something you want to think about in terms of the revenue source.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Shirley.
Yeah, I would encourage you, I mean, on your presentation, I have to agree with the gentleman in the audience. You might want to really think about the people that you're actually pitching to, the investors. And the investors are going to be looking for a return on their investment. So you really got to grab them very quickly. And the data stuff, source stuff, that's very interesting, and that's something you can give them in a written form. But when you present to them, you really need to think about, how you're going to corral them into your project.
In real life, you're welcome anytime. Anybody knows, come to watch Kretz Forum meetings. Sit in the back so you can learn what the companies are doing, how they're presenting, how they're grabbing us. Because none of this and all of it can't come out right now in 2 minutes. So a lot of it come in due diligence. But, grab us. Okay, other comments?
Yeah, so on the numbers, and when you do them, spending the amount of time on it's $30 trillion to 780 billion to 7.8, and gee, if we could improve that by 1%, those are all great kind of setup things, but they don't really say anything about your company. It's just math. And so really bringing that down to a specific market, that X number of people die every year from misdiagnosed radiology, and that's the market. Now I got to compel it. Now you got me. Now you got a compelling story to create around that.
Okay.
So, any last feedback? Any feedback from the esteemed audience? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, you ready to vote then? Okay. Okay. So, did you have someone copy down possibly here some of the comments so you can learn from it?
Yeah, that'll be great.
Okay. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Okay, great. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. One last thing, other than money, I'm also looking primarily for mentors and advisors, if possible.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Well, tell us right when you come up. Okay, so why don't let me give you number 3. Number 3 is track record. Even if you don't have a track record, entrepreneurs, you should have some adult supervision with members of your team that will have a track record before I invest. Shirley and I and other people in the room invested in a company called Safara, was under $10 million valuation we invested in?
I think it was 7.5.
7.5. Well, that company's going reverse merger, Shell going public for 125, hopefully next month, 125 million. The reason I invest in this company, because we like social impact investing, meaning we want to obviously do good for this planet. They're solving MRSA issues, hopefully for young kids around the world. I think, Mary Jo, you're an investor too? Okay, and so he grabbed me because he had a 40x return. At least he said he did. I didn't verify it. Well, I remember him saying a very healthy track record return, Shirley. And that's why I invested. What was the return? No, this is his past company.
I think he was talking about his past company, yeah.
No, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah. So past company. So even if you don't have a track record, surround yourself with people with track record before you come in and pitch to us. Okay, number 3. Who's the next victim? I mean the next... Are you enjoying yourself? Okay, so how many? You want 2 mics or 1 mic? One mic. Okay. Who? Okay. See the blue line? Yep. Okay, 2 minutes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rufino Olay, and this is my teammate, Feng Feng. We're both executive MBA students here at St. Mary's. Right? What we're going to do is share a product idea called I Get It, based upon my military experience. Straight out of high school, I spent 4 years in the Navy. Right? But when I went back to college, I wasn't ready, and I had a hard time. I had a hard time because I hadn't picked up any kind of coursework for the last 4 years. But I was able to persevere and be able to get my electrical engineering degree, but I was one of the lucky ones. There are currently 22 million veterans in the United States, of which 200,000 more service members are leaving the military every year. Of those, only 10% will actually get a bachelor's degree. Each one of them is going to have the same story as me. We weren't ready for college, let alone to be a civilian. Transition to higher education can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. Our proposal is the development of a mobile app educational platform which has 3 major components. The first part is a subject matter, which allows the student to review key concepts prior to entering college. The second part is college applications, where we'll be able to guide the student to understand which universities have a strong military support system. The last part is scholarships and job opportunities, because we all need help. Now, we're looking to charge $40 per license, and we expect to be cash flow positive within 4 years. Our ask is for $1.1 million, which will get us through 3-year development runway. But in reality, what we're looking for is a mentorship to make sure our product is as successful as possible. Thank you.
Wow, great job. Okay, ready? Okay, so you have passion, you have purpose, you've obviously been there, you get it, and 22 million, that's scary. So how many of those really train themselves to go into secondary and or into a place of educating? Were they educated in the military?
So we have trade schools in the military, right? But we don't practice complex math. I didn't do any trigonometry. When I came out, I had to take review classes, which, let's get that out of the way. The point is, 30% of actual military do have some educational experience, but that number drops to only 10% that actually get their bachelor's because they're frustrated. They're older students, they're returning students, and there's not a support structure for them.
Okay, you ready for questions? Okay, first question, customers. Okay, yes. Obviously the military would be a customer,
yes,
right? They want the best for their veterans leaving. So have you approached the military?
We have not. What I have done is done market research based upon even my own cohort, which has 3 military veterans in there. So I did is I pinged them. I also went to the local, veteran services and got their take.
Okay, great.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service. Really honored to have you be here and be thinking entrepreneurially. The question I have about the app is, what's the focus? Is the focus education, or is the focus sort of information to connect vets to services? I'm a little confused.
Yes. That's our main difference. We're not Kaplan. We're not just going to focus on GED. We want to have the whole system, help them transition, right? Understand which military schools or which schools have a strong military infrastructure,
okay,
and actually get them. So it's the whole thing.
And then the question becomes then, in the actual coursework, how do you get to the quality that you need? How do you get the content configured in a way that really intersects with the audience that you're trying to serve?
I'm going to partner with St. Mary's Education Department first off to create the content, right? And the same point is there is a grading structure within GED. You score over 175 for each module, and you're ready for college.
Okay, Melissa, and also before your question is, Les, you were CEO of what learning company?
COO of The Learning Company.
Great. Okay, great. Okay, there we go.
I got my business card here.
Yeah, so that's entrepreneurs ask for resources. You have them in the room. Ask for something. Okay, Melissa.
Your screens look good, good presentation, and I'm curious, how far along are you on the development process, and how close are you to actually generating revenue?
We haven't. This is our mock-up. I mean, this is our first time. We actually pivoted 3 different times before coming here. So this is totally a mock-up. Yep.
We had a head of sales that used to say our product was built on the Microsoft stack, Microsoft PowerPoint, so that's fine. You got me.
Thanks, Melissa. Okay, Mary Jo.
Again, good idea. I think hidden in here is a longer term idea, and good for you that you're pivoting. That's exactly what most entrepreneurs, The average is 8 pivots, by the way, before you have an MVP. Did anybody tell you that?
We've already done 3 within the last
You're
week.
almost there then, good. You might think about being an aggregator rather than a developer.
Sure.
Because really what you're trying to do is take what's already out there and package it in an easily usable form. And by the way, the focus being the VA is very important, but there's a lot of young people who aren't ready for college either. So don't necessarily limit, you just want to target initially, but listen, don't limit it.
May I answer to that?
Of course.
So the idea here is, and exactly what you're right, these are non-traditional returning students. So our first focus is on the military, but it is a platform for many different areas, but we're focused first on the military.
Okay.
I had a question about assessment.
Yes.
Because you're talking about basically a transition period between the time they come back and they go to college. How do you provide assessments to that particular veteran, for instance, to let him know that he is, in fact, or she's ready for the next level, which is college?
Okay, you have you're out of time, so you have 10 seconds to answer Shirley's question. Ready?
So there's this term hurry up and wait in the military, and you have a lot of downtime. You were able to download this on your own time and be able to upload it and be able to, with our people, and say, okay, am I ready? And be able to provide that feedback. So there is that interactive.
Okay, great. Here we go. Now you can relax. Are you both answering questions or just yourself?
Just myself.
Okay, good. My first reaction is customer validation is critical. And again, these are early, but if you can go to the military, if you can go to St. Mary's, if you can get momentum toward a customer saying, gee, I may be interested in this, or better yet, they actually engage with it because you're not yet ready, that's powerful. If you can bring a testimonial that you've approached, a division that you were in, that would be powerful. Okay. In military. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Great presentation. I love your passion for it, and I want you to succeed in this. I think it's a very good, it's a great thing to bring to the market. One thing I would encourage you to consider, in addition to Randy's comment about approaching the VA both nationally and locally in the states, is considering the community colleges and actually selling the software to the community colleges so they provide it for free to the veterans. I talked to a vet today, and he said once he got to the community college, they did all the paperwork for him to get to get all the funding and everything. And so just consider maybe, potentially you could get a big customer rather than going out one by one and signing up vets. Is something to consider.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Melissa, great thought. And that free is powerful, but make sure you surround it with advertising. And then they provide, obviously, a licensing. You provide a licensing agreement, and then you monetize off the advertising, and they scale for you. Okay?
Yeah, I would echo Melissa's comment, in part just because your competition in the marketplace, at least in your own write-up, is free. The Khan Academy and other sort of learning resources are out there,
Yes.
and you really need to show the value. But if you can provide the service for free, you erase that competitive barrier, if you will, and really could serve a market, maybe much better. The only other thing I would say is really thinking about the market segmentation in a way that gets to Mary's point about a bigger market. Because the 22 million vets that you have, many of those are in their 50s and 60s from wars past, et cetera. Bless their hearts, but they're probably not your target audience. And so the 20,000 or the 200,000 a year is really your market. Might be a little small for an investor to consider investing in your company. So be thinking a little bigger, I think, is the idea.
Thank you.
Shirley.
I like to sort of nail things before I scale things. So, and you've got a sort of fairly huge, audience out there. I think Les is right. I think you do a little bit of segmentation. The reason is that when you first start out, you don't have a whole lot of capital runway. And you're going to, whatever capital runway you have, you want to really nail that first segment. And then from there, use that as sort of kind of your springboard to the other areas and then scale up. But be very careful that you don't try to eat that elephant all in one swoop. Just try it a spoon at a time.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. And last, and if you have any feedback, please put up your hand. Okay,
Yeah.
Mary Jo.
You might consider being a B Corp. This really, there's a great interest right now in the world we live in for social impact investing. And this is a nice in combination, so you might think about that.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Last comment.
I love the presentation. I'm a combat veteran myself, graduating MBA through St. Mary's, and I actually work at the Vet Center, and I have a program that's called Breakline that comes out of Stanford University that does transitional educational benefits, and they transition military members. Your entry would be in the TAPS, which is the transitioning out of the military. Every military person has to do active duty into veteran. That's where you would go, and I would go with the DoD contract where you can actually license with them and then offer your service for free. And the DoD already has an infrastructure with every college veteran center that they can get that information, and that app is just a better delivery system. It's great.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're ready to vote, and also Les, about resources. You were working over the incubator at JFK for a while, and I brought in AT&T as a sponsor of that. And AT&T, what they're doing is bringing veterans back to war and giving them jobs. And so that's a resource. You should really tie into AT&T because they have a big problem, a big program for that. Okay, so here we go. We're voting. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Great job. Okay, so how are we doing? Are we engaging you? Are you with us? Okay, good. Okay, so my next one is number 4. So when I make an investment, and I don't always do this, obviously we have to do deep due diligence at Keiretsu, and we have fortunately many verticals and many expertise. So from A to Z, we have it at Keiretsu Forum. We have Apple members. We have, you go down all the way, AT&T members, and Googlers and Facebook. But what I look at is I look at past investors that, in generally the companies that come to us, are on their second or third iteration startup. So I like to talk to past investors and who invested in them and why. And it's very telling. Then you can check on, did they say they're going to do a 10x? Yes, we're going to make millions for you. Well, did they? Right? Okay. So I'm just trying to keep this simple, stupid. So number 4 is check with past investors. Okay, here we go. Ready to go? And I saw you practicing in the other room, and good for you. Have you been practicing for a couple months, or did you just kind of practice tonight?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, come on up.
Short notice.
Short notice. So we have self-effacing, honest entrepreneur. He's been working on this for 24 hours.
Well,
I don't believe you. You've been working on it for a lifetime, right?
2 years leading
Nice.
up to this, but this particular forum, a day.
Okay, Eric, also, what program are you in?
I'm actually going to be starting the EMBA course in April.
Great. Okay, Eric, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, clock's right there. Ready to go. 2 minutes, please.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Bradley. I have over 16 years of experience in the automotive industry, including time as a consultant for product planning and as a technical instructor for Tesla Motors. There is currently a problem today in the automotive and power sports worlds. Current market analysis companies provide very limited and flawed data to product planners in all variants of the industry, including the main manufacturers and their vendors. In a market that produced over 75 million cars and trucks and 120 million motorcycles in 2016 alone, these teams had to make critical and costly per unit decisions with misleading, and in the case of power sports, non-existent product data. These teams decide which vehicles to sell, what equipment to put on them, and how to price them. So, if you were going to bring a competitor to market to go against all of BMW's sedans, how would you do that? Should your company create the next Lexus brand, or should you just put leather seats on your Camry? How do these decisions affect valuation of the consumer, profitability, or, in the case with Victory Motorcycles, if you're even going to stay in business? MotorWorks is an integrated product planning service. Based upon reliable and detailed market data, it enables its users to make accurate, competitive products and create business documentation. This continually updated research is collected centrally and then sold to multiple companies for a fraction of what it would cost for independent investment. This data is also easily repackaged to an array of other verticals. For an initial $1.5 million to develop, with a quick ramp up to, to profitability, with only its first 2 core verticals. Motorworks will enable companies to invest their resources to producing the most competitive and profitable products in automotive and motorsports. Thank you.
Who's first in our gracious Shark Tank? Okay, Les.
So 2 things I'm a little confused about. Where do you get the data?
So, data is somewhat available from manufacturers themselves. Microphone there. As like news agencies and stuff like that can talk to their product planning departments, and they actually have a media department that gives pricing lists, dealer order guides, and product lists. And they're in all different formats with all different levels of data. For companies, for smaller boutique companies, they do have online resources that you can go to, and then in addition to that would be vetting the data at the actual vehicles, so like dealerships.
You're going to go knock on GM's door and say, please give me all your data.
Actually, I can do that right now. I can email them and have them start sending me the product data.
Okay, and do you have the rights to publish that and resell it?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, that's a big statement. So tell us how.
Tell us how. I actually worked for one of the two main data companies in automotive. And the reason I'm looking at the direction I'm going is because no one's looking at power sports. So I've already talked with the people from GM, I've talked with the people from Mercedes-Benz, and everywhere around the world to get that kind of data. With my previous job, and then now with this one, I'll be doing the same thing.
Okay, Mary Jo.
Yes.
How will you price this, and again, who would the buyer be?
So the primary product is going to be the analysis database, which will be going to OEMs, the actual manufacturers, GM, Ford, Chrysler. Depending on how large of a database they're using and how large of an area they're looking. So if it was just United States data for Chrysler headquarters, about $250,000 a year. There's also a secondary market. If you've gone online and shopped for a car before, and you've done the little vehicle comparator at the bottom, there's an entire network of website generators and dealerships that'll pay for the data to make a comparator, which there isn't one for motorcycles or any other power sport industry. That I'm looking at about $200 a month,
And briefly,
depending on the dealership size.
before Shirley asks a question, you know, getting back to my 3 Ps, passion, purpose, and a plan, why is your passion here?
Because I love cars.
Okay.
Just going into the intricacies and the detail, taking things apart, figuring out how to make them better.
Find a job you love to do, never have to work again, right?
Exactly.
Okay, that's my job. Okay, Shirley.
Yeah, I mean, if I understand you correctly, you're essentially aggregating all the data that's out there and you're putting it in some kind of format so the decision makers who are going to be making decisions about the next car they're building, for instance, will have that at their fingertips. And then and you are charging for that particular service to provide that data. Is that
Yes.
correct?
As well as the different analysis programs within that,
Right.
and then additional input data as well.
But your focus is going to be on the power cars, some of the cars that are,
So power sports is like motorcycles all the way up through glorified golf carts,
Uh-huh.
and then you have automotive, which is your cars and trucks.
Okay.
So slightly 2 separate industries, but a lot of the vendors overlap.
yeah. Is this something that you want to do for the rest of your life, or is this something that you want to like build up and get to a certain revenue stage and then exit?
Legacy company.
It is
Definitely.
legacy. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around the pain point that this solves for. So
Okay.
give me maybe an example, like a tactical example of what this company would do and versus, you know, the situation if this company didn't exist.
Okay, I'll give you 2.
Okay.
One, we're in a great economic point in the country, except Victory Motorcycles just went out of business. Polaris decided to go off into 2 different markets competing with themselves, basically doing what GM was doing leading up to the recession. If they're able to see that kind of data and see the sales along with understanding that their different departments are competing with each other, it'll keep things like that from happening. They really should have repositioned Victory Motorcycles to go after the high-end cruiser markets, the BMWs, the Honda Goldwings. Another one was, I was actually personally involved with this, was with Hyundai.
Okay,
They were
your
trying to do the
time
Genesis.
is up, so summarize.
Okay.
You got 10 seconds.
All right. I was with the team that was telling them to make the Genesis a brand like Lexus, and they fought it and lost money until now. Guess what? They finally came up with a great idea. They're making Genesis a brand.
Okay, here we go. Feedback. And you have 4 minutes. So right there, you're telling stories to us, and that's powerful. So entrepreneurs, please tell a story. Bring us in. You started bringing us in at the end there, right? Because God, you felt it. You lived it, and you were sharing that story, and all of a sudden you got me more into your presentation. Okay.
So one of the things that entrepreneurs can do is kind of tell things that most people don't know and give it real clarity. And I don't know power sports. And until you answered the question that it was from motorcycles to golf courts, I didn't know what you were talking about. And so I think really early on, you just need to set the stage, set the arena that you're going to play in and why you're going to knock it out of the park. That really helps an investor sort of evaluate then kind of what comes after. And then the only other sort of piece of feedback is, I think what you said is that somebody can get the product for $200 a month, and somebody else pays $250,000 for it. So I think I'll just become a dealer and pay the $200 instead of buying the $250. Is that what I heard you say?
Am I allowed to comment back?
I'm sorry. No, it shouldn't be a question. Yeah, my fault.
I can talk to you after this.
All right.
Mary Jo.
I especially like towards the end, anytime you can represent the pain of your customer, that really pulls us in. All the rest, it's interesting, but once you tell me, this hurts and we fix it, now you got us. So go right there because you feel it better than the average data scientist that you might run into.
Okay. Shirley G. Turn on, please.
Yeah, I have to admit that I was sort of trying to follow you in the beginning and trying to figure out exactly what your product was, so you probably need to tighten that up a little bit. The other thing is that when you're asking for $1 million from investors for a legacy company, you're going to have to be producing a lot of dividends or something, for them to come in with you. So you might want to think about, just your business model and whether there's an opportunity there for investors to invest and get a return on that investment in some way. A legacy company is not typically what a lot of, investors, certainly VCs, invest in.
Also comments out here. If you have a comment, please raise your hand. Okay, Melissa.
Great presentation. You're obviously very passionate about this. It's something that you know very well. You know better than the panel, this market, obviously. I would just to echo the previous comment, just in terms of working on your wording and how you're describing it, and you probably know this stuff inside out, upside down, can talk it in your sleep, but when you're talking to investors, you really need to kind of break it down and kind of, make it a little bit more understandable for us. But just keep working on it. Keep at it and keep working on it.
Okay.
Okay, are we done? Any feedback? Okay, so you ready to vote? Okay, on a 1, take your time. 1, 2, 3. Boy, this is kind of, we're right on the same here. Thank you so much. Okay, so Keiretsu Forum, we have over 1,000 fundings at Keiretsu over the last 17 years. Typically in Northern California, we fund between 30 to 35 companies a year. So my next thought in regards to an entrepreneur, if you're pitching to us, and it doesn't have to be a startup. Like 30% of our portfolio is brick and mortar. We've done lighting, we've done, Clarisonic, Sonic Care for Your Face, as a product company, real estate. And so we like companies we can get out of. So when I invest in real estate, I look at when I can get out. It's not equity sometimes. It can be a fix and flip. It can be mortgage pools. But I like the redemption 1 to 2 years so I can exit and then reinvest. And a lot of companies come to us. So my next comment is, can you get out? So if you don't have the appetite to roll for 10 years, because every entrepreneur is going to tell you, you're going to exit in 3 or 4 years. Multiply it times 3. Because that's what happens in the marketplace. So if you don't have the appetite for a 9-year hold, so can you get out? Okay, here we go. We have 2 more presentations, Berna. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, here we go. Who's next?
All right.
It's a trap to get through.
It's okay. Are you mic'd?
Yeah.
Are you, sometimes you get to watch this, you get to see what they're doing, so it's sometimes good going last, don't you think?
Yeah.
Or going first. Look what happened to you going first.
I'm second to last.
Yeah, you did great. Okay, the floor is yours.
All right. don't think, there are slides, okay. Ready? Yeah. Hi, my name is Kim Bayless. I am a clinician, a physician assistant for the last 18 years. 10 years of that, I've helped fertility patients get pregnant. And what I've heard from them is they want to hold on to their privacy. So I gave some thought to that, and I came up with an idea, a product called the Fertility Disc. The Fertility Disc is a product, patent pending, that has a mechanical and a chemical component that helps women get pregnant, and it also may help with sex selection. In the last, say, 70 years, around 1950 till now, fertility rates have dropped by about 60%. In normal, healthy males, sperm counts have dropped from 160 million to about 20 million per milliliter. So big drop. The fertility industry is a $700 million industry per year. What the Fertility Disc would like to do is capitalize on 10% of that market, or $70,000 in the next 5 years. That's the revenue that we're looking for. We would like to sell our unit for $99. Our cost would be about $20. We are looking for the retail market. So some of these things have gone through the prescription and procedural based ways to try and get pregnant, but ours would be over the counter. I'm asking for $500 million to continue to improve my idea and my business plan, and then that would be to bridge me for future funding to get through the 510 CAPE and to get this product to market. Thank you.
Okay. Kind of reminds me of Austin Powers. 500 million? Don't you mean 5 billion? Sorry.
That's okay.
I pivot. $500 million. Okay. Okay, so questions. So that's a big word, may, up there on your slide. May. I mean, obviously, in many parts of the world, may is a big. I mean, may aid sex selection. I'm thinking about China right now.
Yeah.
You know. So, what does that word mean, may?
Yeah. So the morphology of sperm are different, and depending on how permeable your membrane is, you can let in the XX or the XY chromosomes on the sperm. And so that's what we're targeting.
Does this type of product, I'm not familiar with this type of product, does it need FDA approval? And what are the steps and timelines and clinical trials and all the other things associated with FDA approval?
So you need money. The chemical portion of this product has been on the market. It's been proven safe. So we're utilizing that already. There's some fast tracks through the FDA, and especially with a component that's already on the market and proven to be safe. So I'm looking at 24 months.
Shirley, or Les?
You need to break down that 500 million and what you're spending it on for me.
And you know, that's a typo. 500,000.
Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. Austin Powers.
But if you give me 500 million, I'll take it.
Well, you never know. Okay, Shirley.
All right. Yeah, that's much better.
Well, you got us now. Look,
Yeah,
laughter, you know, hey.
Yeah, you woke me up. So tell me a little bit about the $500,000 and how far that's going to get you, say, pre-FDA, and does that get you through the animal testing phase?
I think so. I think that, again, while this may appear novel this evening, it's really not when you break things down. And I think that I can show that this is very safe, and it's proven itself safe for well over 30 years.
Shirley? Mary Jo?
Can you talk about, women still greatly value their gynecologist's recommendation. How are you going to educate and engage the gynecologists in this whole process?
Well, I can honestly say that my exchanges with patients really have been about teaching them about some of the rhythm of their body and telling them, asking them questions like, are you really doing things at the right time. And if you're not, come back and see me in 6 months or 9 months. And I think this would be a great product to partner with some of the things that are already over the counter, your pregnancy tests, your ovulation predictors. So I'm definitely looking at partnering.
Okay, Les?
Yeah, thinking about it from the customer perspective, one of the things that I'm wondering is, what are the alternatives, you know, that the person who's trying to get pregnant, what's the cost of going that route? What's the risk of going that route? What's the certainty of going, you know, route A versus route B versus your $99 device? And then secondly, sort of when I buy this is a one use. So am I going to buy multiple $99 devices, or is it a one-time, or is it I only buy it one time? And
Single use. So you would use it one time.
So it could cost me several $100s if in order to get pregnant, and that would be compared to some other alternatives then.
Right.
Yeah.
So some of the alternatives are your IVF, and that's a substantial amount of money. We're talking into the thousands, and we're questioning even whether maybe patients even have that type of insurance coverage.
Right, and then the question of time, right? Because if you try your method for several months and have no results, then I've lost time to have a family, and then I have to go some other route, and that's going to take time. So there's some calculated decisions customers would go through to invest in an untried product, and I think that goes to Mary Jo's point, which is you kind of need the professional community to help you along, I think. Yeah.
Can I answer that?
Of course.
Yeah, so in regard to the professional community, in a natural cycle, there's about a 25% chance of getting pregnant. And with utilizing something like this, it probably is about a 10% chance. So I think you're... 10%
better chance?
It's because we're dealing with some issue with pregnancy. So this is kind of that beginning way that you can start your workup when you don't exactly know what the problem is, but it's probably something simple. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you ready for feedback? Okay. And please, if you have feedback here, let us know. We'll bring a mic to you. Okay, who's ready? Okay, please, Melissa.
So a great presentation. I love that you brought your personal story to it, and you talked about talking with patients, and that I think that really sort of struck a chord with me. The one thing I would you may want to consider as you're ready to go to market is approaching the health plans, because $99 a month or $1,200 a year becomes not a small amount of money, and not all health plans are able to offer fertility treatments, but they might be willing to offer or help supplement some of the funds to pay for that. So just consider that as you're ready to go to market, approaching the health plans. Thank you.
Hey, Shirley.
Yeah, great presentation. And I think you're right that women would like to have a little more privacy in terms of the whole fertility issue. The one thing that I want you to really think about is the claims that you're making associated with this particular device, because you're not only going to have to demonstrate it clinically, and show that the efficacy is there based on the claims that you're making. The one that sort of kind of triggers sort of kind of a reaction sometimes is this whole idea of sex selection that creates a whole social sort of conversation, and I'm not sure if when you start out you want to tackle that. If that is sort of a byproduct, that's one thing, but if you make a claim, then you're sort of inviting that kind of social commentary, so I would really rethink that.
Okay.
The other thing is on the natural booster to improve mortality. That is something you're going to have to be able to demonstrate clinically, and you're going to have to put some money in that to be able to demonstrate. I mean, sometimes the best booster is, having, your guys get off the weed and not have, stone sperm. But you might,
Learn something every day, huh?
but, so it might be that. That might be on the label. Please use this absent weed. But think about all the labels that you're thinking about putting on this particular product, and making sure that you play that all the way out.
Okay. And a little feedback before we go on to Mary Jo, please.
Great job tonight. I've just wanted to say, and also, if you had provided a little bit more information about how the end user uses the product, I think it would have cleared up a lot of the questions that I had in the presentation.
Okay.
Last but not least, Mary Jo.
In the healthcare world, it's harder and harder to get any product into the market, especially if in 4 or 5 years you're only at 3 million. You literally would have to have a vision for a 510K product like this for at least $100 million possibility. So keep thinking about what else might be part of it or where does it fit. It just economically would be tough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last but not least.
Yeah, maybe she can add just a couple of zeros to the $99 price.
Okay. You ready to go? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you so much. All right, last presentation, and I'm going to add one more anecdote about how I invest. When I invest in a CEO, when I invest in a company, I want to see if they're listening to me, or more important, smarter people than me, if they were trying to help the company and if they're receiving the knowledge. So are they good listeners? And can they execute on the listening? Because there's so many resources, just like these companies. Come to Keiretsu Forum and see what's happening and learn how, you guys are great presenters, but it can get any better by coming to see us and learning and listening and then obviously executing. So, last but not least, you ready, Jordan? Okay, come on up. All right, and then we're gonna have Burn up here after voting, and then we're gonna do, you're gonna do, get everybody involved in a vote? Great, okay. So you've been practicing. You came last year, didn't you? Where have I seen you before? Yeah, right. Here you go. Thank you.
Testing. Everyone can hear me? Awesome. Do I start whenever? Perfect. Okay. Did you know that 1/3 of all U.S. cities will face water shortages by 2025? Did you also know that the amount of water to sustain LA for an entire year is being squandered? And it's right under our noses, the solution. Actually, it's right above our noses in the form of rain, and nobody is capturing it. However, there is some good news. Currently, the feds and the state have pledged $15 to $110 billion in public waterworks projects. But what about the residents? Residents, those hit the hardest, have been neglected until now. Especially those residents who live in the outskirts, lack access to public water utilities, and must rely on costly measures like trucking in water, like giant trucks, multiple times all day, every day. And they rely on private wells that are drying out at an alarming pace. Well, no pun intended. I have a solution. Rain Farmer. We offer to install, monitor, and maintain rainwater capture systems for residential uses. The market right now is giant, as we can see here in the trends of private investment. This is a market that has $7 billion last year, projected to reach $20 billion by 2025. This has been cited by the Food and Agriculture Organization as the fastest growing industry in the United States. Why us? Well, we're a one-stop shop for all your water needs. We save you time, money, and mistakes. Today, we're asking for $500,000 to get us off the ground. In addition, we generate revenue similar to the solar industry. By the way, this is the next solar, by initial installation fees and monthly service contracts. And we make a lot of money. Rain Farmer, saving the world by saving water. Thank you.
All right. Okay, testing. Okay, first question.
great need. I think you really outlined that really well. If I understand from your, how much are you charging for the Rain Farmer device or whatever
so
it is?
our first target market, based on this giant need, right, is, so answer your question succinctly, we're charging $50,000 to these consumers because these specific residents, these landowners, we're talking, you know, like 5 to 50, tons of acres of land. They have a giant need. That's why we're targeting them first with these giant systems of 40,000 gallon tanks.
So it's not really residents, it's commercial farmers that you're after?
Well,
or?
so yes, we would also do farmers, but in particular, we're thinking of private, so like residential landowners who are more ranchers, if anything. There are 140,000 acre feet of land that would qualify.
Okay. Mary Jo?
So is this it looks like a water tank. Is it a one-time 50,000 or are you charging something per month to do something for them?
Correct. So similar to the solar industry, we're charging an initial fee and then, yes, a monthly service contract to monitor the water. You know, there's a bunch of procedures that could be that need to be done, maintain the system, check on it. This would be at a bi-yearly rate. We'd send someone in there. So yes, there'd also be a service fee. And it's really worth it for the consumer.
Yeah, Melissa?
So $50,000 seems, just not knowing a lot about water, seems like a lot sort of as an entry point. Can you talk a little bit about the competition, what you're competing with, how expensive it is to truck in water?
Yeah, I'd love to. That's my favorite part. So the competition, there isn't anyone now with a one-stop shop. Thanks to recent changes in, for example, California state law, all the regulations on rainwater capture for like residential use has almost been eliminated. The specific answer, I'm sorry, can you please repeat how much water it is. These residents would save $14,000 a year alone because water trucking costs $275 to $350 per truck. And these are people who do truckloads every day, all day. So that's a lot of money. And the biggest selling point is that these are residents whose wells are drying up, and these wells are so vital, these private wells. 15% of all private wells in California have dried up in the last 10 years. And these wells, if they dry up, can drop property values from 10% to 50%. And these are $30 million properties. People need their wells.
Yeah, a follow-up question. So how many wells are there and why just focus on California?
There's a lot of wells. I have some good diagrams. Like I said, 145,000 acre feet of land sustained by private well use and would qualify, and 15% in the last decade, and it's only going faster as we tap into our aquifers more. It's changing this demand. And California is a starting point based on the new regulatory changes. I also haven't mentioned the subsidies that are on the way. There's already a $1,000 rebate in California. So California, it's our home ground. It's where my local contacts are, great starting point. And yes, you're correct, we'll expand to west, southwest areas.
Okay, Shirley.
Are you working with financial institutions to come up with some kind of structure, a payment structure, for these purchases?
So I have not spoken with anyone myself, but there are multiple different financial institutions. A very popular one is PACE. I wish I remember what that stood for, but beautiful, total discussions about funding water conservation, water recycling, this exact kind of thing. The awesome financial support for this.
Yeah, have you looked into the early stages of the solar industry? I mean,
Yeah,
part of the problem with the solar industry, as you recall, was the market adoption, the rate of market adoption, and a lot of businesses went under because they couldn't get the market to accept the solution. Have you looked into that history and learned from that?
Yes.
Okay, ready for feedback? Any feedback? Okay, Dennis. Erica?
Yeah, one of the things you got to say at the very beginning is we just had the most rain we've had in a few decades. And maybe you can turn that into a positive, but that's a reality.
Okay, here we go, feedback. Thank you, Dennis. Les.
Okay. So all of the other presenters really had a personal story behind their presentations, and it was noticeably, just because your competitors all had that, it was noticeable that you did not. So if you have some personal connection to water and it's a passion, that sort of thing, it lends a lot of credibility to the story, and encourage you to bring that forward.
Thank you.
Excellent. Mary Jo.
Another part of it, which it feels like it's going to be a very expensive process to get it out there, get it installed. There's a whole ecosystem for that too. You don't have to worry about it here, but if it costs $20,000 to have a $50,000, whatever it is, that piece was not there, and that would help.
Okay. Feedback also from the audience, please stand up.
Great presentation. Just one thing, and I'm touching off of what Shirley was mentioning was, what are the options for your clients? It looks like their options are literally drying up. No pun intended. Aquifers are dry. We've got great rainfall, but there's no guarantee it's going to happen again next year. Your other option, they don't have the type of utilities that we have here in the urban area, right? They can't just turn on a tap and expect water to come in from whatever water agency it is. It's either a well or it's getting trucked in. No matter what you truck in, whether it's water or dirt, it's really expensive. So if you can articulate that a little more and talk about options and limited options that they have, and how even though 50 grand is a big outlay, at the end of the day, it's going to pay for itself over time.
Great comment. Okay.
Thank you.
Please, Melissa.
Great presentation. I think my points were covered. Just get the ROI out there. It's pretty important just from an investment standpoint to get that out. But you're passionate about it. It's clearly a good idea. I like the fact that you've got a setup fee and a recurring monthly fee. So that's great that you can keep that recurring revenue coming in for the long haul. So potentially to upsell additional products in the future as well. So great job.
Thank you. Shirley.
I think the main concern I would have is really actually the market adoption piece of it, where you can really actually get the market to adopt the solution for the price tag, because you're looking at 3 years before you cover the initial investment. That's a long time for some people, to recapture an investment,
Okay, you ready to vote? Okay. Okay, get ready. Drum beat. Okay, 1, 2, 3. How we doing, huh? Like-minded. Great job. Thank you. So, Berna, why don't we conclude? You have some announcements, and you're going to give some gifts to our wonderful judges. But a gift for all of you. Our members over the last 15 years have created the Keiretsu Forum Due Diligence Handbook on how we think and how we react and how we act as investors. It's free to you. So if you're interested in looking at 400 pages on how to do due diligence and what we're thinking about, and it goes through every vertical, including real estate, how to do due diligence on real estate, how to do diligence, obviously, in the startups. But go on the Apple bookstores, it's free, or just go to our website, Lauren. How do they find the due diligence book? Yeah. Okay, I've been asked many years, why don't we sell this information? It's free because it's been given by our members and myself over the years. And every couple months we're updating it. So it's powerful on how we do due diligence before we make an investment. Berna, great job.
Thank you. Back at you. All right, we're not done yet. This is actually the best part. Right? This is where you get to vote for your favorite of the night, or favorites, actually. Does everyone have their big bucks? We gave all of you a huge $10 bill and a $20 bill, okay? And next to the entrance, next to the door over there, we have boxes for each participant and each company. Now, you can invest all $30 into one company, or you can divide it up and invest the 20 in your favorite and the 10 in your second favorite. Or if you decide to not invest at all, that's your choice. But I would, and I will. Everybody, did you guys get your big bucks? All right. Okay. So let's take about 10 minutes or so to go do that. They're a little bit big and the boxes are a little small, so maybe you want to fold them up a little bit to help us. So tonight we have a first place winner and a second place winner. And we have a People's Choice Award, which is what you voted on. And the People's Choice Award was funded by the Stoll Family Entrepreneurship Fund. And they're huge supporters of our entrepreneurship programs and the Center for Regional Economy. And I'd like to thank them once more this year as well. And that is a $1,000 cash prize. The second place prize is $1,500 in cash and the chance to present at an expo, which is the largest Keiretsu Forum meeting during the year. It happens twice a year and draws in a global crowd of angels and VCs of about 500 people or so, or even more sometimes. So when you're ready, you have a chance to present at the expo, courtesy of Randy, and we'd like to thank him for his support of our programs as well. And the first place prize is, it also has $3,000 cash. Okay. And tonight I'll announce the second place winner, prize winner first, and that is Rafino, Ole, and Fang Fang. And that was with a vote of 26 from the 5 judges. And the People's Choice Award goes to the first place winner as well, and that is Casey Riley. Congratulations to all the winners, the 2 winners, and everyone who has presented, and all of you who were here. Thank you for being here and supporting our students and our alums. A huge thank you to our judges, Randy, Melissa, Les, Shirley, and Mary Jo. Thank you for being here. And stick around, everyone. Have some more food, some more wine, and hopefully you get to chat with all the students and all the alums who are presenting tonight. Thank you. See you next year.